Welcome to the Flicks, Picks, and the Nitpicks, and I am your host, Nov 718, and we're gonna get right to it. This Peter Pan and Wendy trailer. Now, I grew up on Peter Pan like a lot of you guys, the Disney version, of course, but I was real small for the Disney version. What really got me into Peter Pan was really Fox's Peter Pan and the Pirates, which from what I understood is more derivative from the actual source material. But that being said, I still love Peter Pan, the concept of it. Little known fact too, watching, I think it was Minty's channel or something like that, that does like movie reviews and pulls up like the 10 things you didn't know. Excellent channel. I learned from them that that's where the Lost Boys concept came from, and I kind of always thought it had a Peter Pan ring to it, but I wasn't really exactly sure. And it's so funny, I didn't really think things through, that they were kind of stuck in a child's body, but they were real small. The initial idea for the Lost Boys was supposed to be they were supposed to be kids, and it was a play off the idea that Peter Pan was really a vampire or something like that. That would have been so dope, but they wanted to be more Goonies style than I believe Joel Silver, or I hope I'm saying the name, Joel Silver, or Schumacher, that's what it is. He the director aged them up and wanted to go for a more adult version, etc., etc. But either way you look at it, I'm a big fan of the lore. I really would like to see a updated version of it past Hook, but Hook was more reflective. To see an actual version of it from right now would be so dope. I know about all the shit people are talking about from Tinkerbell and all that. Look, we're gonna judge it for what it is, and we're gonna talk about that. You already know, but let's just check this trailer out.
I don't want to grow up. I want things to stay the way they are.
Okay.
Can't stop time, Wendy, whether you like it or not.
Disney 100 years.
Gotcha! You were flying. A little bug did it.
I don't think that's a bug.
She is a fairy.
Are you Peter Pan?
Were you expecting someone else?
I can fly!
Okay. Let's go.
That's
Neverland! Is this everything you dreamed of?
Alright, they gotta make Neverland look dope.
dreamed of this. What is this place?
No rules, no schools,
Yeah, you
no
can have so much
bedtimes,
fun with
and
it.
most of all,
No growing up. Are you Wendy? Tiger Lily. Peter. Peter!
Captain, it's Peter Pan. Never say his name.
Okay. Oh, that look dope.
Don't touch my brother!
Okay.
miss me?
Just like old times.
All your times are old, Captain.
Is he Indian?
On! Everyone hang on!
Did you hear that?
That is one big...
Okay. Oh, that looks sick. Okay.
To grow up might just be the biggest adventure of all.
That's cute. I like it. We gonna get into the obvious. Like, the boy, is he Indian? Is he Indian? Or some sort of like Indian white or something, Greek? I don't know. Like, that's the only thing that's, I won't say exactly jarring. It throws it off. It helps with the fact that Peter Pan's from somewhere else, but at the same time it doesn't, because isn't Peter Pan from, the thing with Peter Pan is he's from England, and I'm not thinking about postmodern England where we have a lot of English Indians. I'm talking about England like very white in like England. So that's the only thing that throws it off when I'm trying, like, if I'm watching this and you're making creative ideas but trying to pull it more from like a more terrestrial, more grounded level, it would make sense if to go with what would have been around at that time. I don't see the point in needing to. I mean, again, the boy, I don't know for sure if he's Indian. It's not really that big of a deal. I mean, it does kind of bother for the time, because I'm one of those people that I like things to make sense for the time. And it's like, I don't know, but like, I could be wrong. He might just be all white. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying he's kind of looking, again, though, it would have been cool to understand if you look at it from he's from somewhere else. So if everyone English comes down there and sees him as different, but to be, even for that idea, I'd aesthetically go for a traditional white child, because then I might lean into the Lost Boys there being of different ethnicities. And you may argue they could all look like they from somewhere else, and that would make Peter Pan stand out amongst from them too. So when he does show up and you have a Tinkerbell for some reason taking a higher liking to him as he grows into Peter Pan from a baby, because all he knows is there, then he could kind of like look like, I don't know, the golden boy, if you will, to these kids that look absolutely nothing like him, but he's different because he grown there, and he might be their first English counterpart that came down there. And although the kids came from different places of the earth before England somehow got pulled in, got a child to come down to go down there. Visually speaking, it could make its own sense of self if you want to create a lore to keep that Peter Pan standing out amongst them visibly, and that could also using his ethnicity as part of the quiet tale that makes him stand out apart from his Lost Boy counterparts. Or these are just kids taken from all over the world, they're lost and they find themselves here. But still, like, you could get away with Tinkerbell being of different ethnicity because she's, technically speaking, she is a fairy. So if you want to play with her aesthetics, because what if we would have made it a white girl but gave her yellow skin? No one would have said anything. So if you would have, or made her green, you know what I mean, and try to get to a more like if it was real or differentiated, so like create a world that is completely different, built on its own type of merits, but still telling the story of Peter Pan. Boom. Now again, I'm not a big fan of changing up what it is or lore is. I don't know if they're going more towards the book or if they're going more towards the animated series, but it's Disney. I would think they are leaning more into that because he has the green garb on. But needless to say, I don't know. I don't want to really get lost into that part. We'll have a Just a Talk where we could discuss that a little bit more in depth and further. But right here, I just want to really enjoy the film and what they're showing. And visually, I like it. I mean, it looks dope. They're not overusing the color palettes to make it colorful, which I was surprised they would have wanted to go more into. But if you're trying to keep a more grounded aesthetic and make it look more visually likely, I would lay off the hyper colors because it pushes you in an animated world. If you want these kids and the audience to buy into them being real and Neverland being real, it's not about so much having muted colors per se, but you don't want to overly play up the colors in a color palette because they'll look more visually like you're playing into this cartoon fantasy reality as opposed to a more mature fantasy, if you will, visually mature fantasy, but it's still a kid's story, if that makes sense. But neither here nor there, we're going to check it out one more again because I kind of really like the trailer. I think it looks dope. I really like the take on Tinkerbell. They still could have gave her blonde hair though, but I'm cool. I like this. It's not that deep, but let's just check it again. Cue this up and go.
I don't want to grow up. I want things to stay the way they are.
Can't stop time, Wendy. whether you like
I like it because even the trailer is trying to treat it like a film, an adventure of like back in the day of the aesthetics of like Never-Ending Story, which would have been considered more like leaning into dark fantasy, but it's still a kid's fantasy with dark aesthetics.
A little bug did it.
And she with her glowing her skin, her being caramel making her glow, I think it doesn't really matter.
Peter Pan?
Were you expecting someone else?
I mean, is he? I like a lot of the shots. And they trying, yeah, it's like Never-Ending Stories. I love this type of feel for it.
Never have dreamed of this. What is this place?
No rules.
It should be more like a coming-of-age story.
Most of all,
No growing up.
Are you Wendy?
Tiger Lily. Peter.
Peter!
Captain, it's Peter Pan.
It's still, and it shows that the comedy is still there.
Say his name.
Don't touch my brother!
miss me?
Just like old times.
All your times are old, Captain.
Everyone hang on!
Did you hear that?
So you can see him aging while Peter Pan remained young over time, fighting each other for years. That's cool. They should play into that conversation too. Him aging while he remains young.
Just be the biggest adventure of all.
I like this. This could be a real dope story, and especially if they can make it very coming of age and kind of like show the bond between Peter Pan and Wendy, to crush the child romance. If you could find a way to really bring that sweetness and that innocent aesthetics, showing how kids can relate like that at a young age, to make like an older person kind of remember the innocence of falling for that girl, your biggest crush in the world, how it could feel. There's so many ways you could play with this to really not only just like identify with the child audience, but really with the adults as well, that could remember a time of just liking that girl from afar, or like meeting her, and the adventures like you kids can have in Neverland, and really tie in a lot of like childlike emotions that we all harbor from our first crush, if you will, and really build it into and bake it into the story, so people can really have a real deeper emotional draw towards the film. And I think if you do it right, you could actually really have a wonderful world to play in, where you could actually make a trilogy based on this. But at the same time, it will be hard to keep doing it because the kids will age out of it, so you will kind of want to go boom boom boom, like film Peter Pan 2 and 3 back to back, so you don't have to deal with this no more. And so when you shoot it out, you can have an excellent trilogy with the character and actually have an arc. Maybe he actually leaves Neverland at the end, and then you could bring it back and do a hook inspired thing 20 years later with the same actors, and it could all fall right into its own setting, and it could be all in real time, like Peter Pan revisiting Neverland to save Neverland as an older kid, and then coming back with Wendy here and living their life. Or maybe just come back when they're completely 30 years later and revisit this whole series and do a whole trilogy of them back in Neverland. Like, it could be real dope. But again, like I said, I like what I see so far. There's so many different elements you could play with it, but in terms of the controversy and all that, I don't think it was that deep per se, except every now and again looking at Peter Pan, he looks Indian, and it's like, okay, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if, again, like, if this was like an updated version, I could see it, because if I'm not mistaken, there's a lot of Middle Eastern people that have grown up and have generations down there. But if you're talking for that time, once you put it in a time, place, zone, I think people's minds go to it. So that's where the jarring sensation can come from. So, and it can, but I don't see it with Tinkerbell, because I feel like it lends into the fact that she's a fairy, that her skin complexion would be completely different than what Peter Pan's would be. And especially with them have Native Americans on there, and they're having mermaids and different types of races of people, or humanoids, if you will, then again, not to say that they needed to, but I like the girl they got. She has a fairy-like face, like on screen. It really works. Just looking at her and how her eyes are shaped, I would have said, boom, let's go with that. I could see it. Only other black woman that might could have pulled it off would have probably been Halle Bailey, but I think she was an excellent choice for Ariel. Again, it depends on why they're making these aesthetic changes. But the fact that they did it and didn't need to make a big hoopla about it, and left it to the audiences aside, then like YouTubers like us are gonna make a bigger deal out of it. But hold on a second, I'm gonna make sure this kid is like Middle Eastern, because this is throwing me off. All right, I'm going on some website, AMOMAMA.com, whatever, and it says that he is, and the young actor's name is Alexander Maloney's, and they say his parents is of mixed ancestry, which includes Indian, Middle Eastern, Hispanic, mixed race, and Latin American, which I don't know what mixed race would be, unless they're also saying that black and white, because they separated differently: Middle Eastern, Indian, Middle Eastern, Hispanic, Indian, Middle Eastern, Hispanic, mixed race, and Latin American. Okay, I don't know how they're alright, so he is not exactly white. So with that being said, even though there's a picture of him and his little brother, and clearly his little brother is if not half white, mostly white, so we'll just leave it at that. But I don't know, but either way you look at it, leave it in the comments below. Let me know what you guys think, and like, share, subscribe. See you next time, and as always, I have a bit of outro. Chill.
What is this place?
No rules, no schools, no bedtimes, and most of all,
No growing up.
Are you Wendy?
Tiger Lily.
Peter. Peter! Peter!
Captain, it's Peter Pan. Never say his name.
miss me?
Just like old times.
All your times are old, Captain.
Everyone, hang on!
Did you hear that?
That is one big...
To grow up might just be the biggest adventure of all.